Yeah.
I'm John.
Delicious. That's Johnny B.
I'm John, hitting this dry
Johnny B and
sift.
Neil on the couch.
Hey. So, John, is that the weed that you use to extract the winning
Johnny?
sift from at the concentrates open?
No.
Here,
Okay.
Neil, you take that. He's
So this
busy-
happens to
busy
be
with the sift.
this happens to be what I call. I have a bag at home. It's called tray weed, and it was about 4 ounces of tray weed from over the last year, and I made
Nice.
2 grams of Epic full melt 99.9% gland heads.
And we're going to smoke some
It
of
was
that too, aren't
it was
we?
pretty much just I had about an hour to kill for breakfast after I was gardening,
We
smoking
need
weed.
an ashtray over here. Oh, I got one.
We got one. Ashtray.
So,
Yeah.
Johnny,
Just-
winner of the Concentrate Open this weekend, last
In a
weekend.
collab with Remo.
It was the Remo collab that won?
So what it was Remo called me on Thursday. He goes, hey, you want to make some sift? I'm like, it's going to be hot tomorrow. How about Saturday? He's
Yeah.
like, okay. So Saturday showed up. I was get my sift machines ready, and at 1 o'clock we called Tim. We're like, we actually got 7 grams here. And Tim told me, he goes, you can enter the final because we already know
That's
you got
enough
the
to
fire.
enter.
It was enough to enter.
There
so
you go.
between 1 and 410, I then cleaned that resin to epicness. Did my 420 rip, jumped on the freeway, got stuck in traffic, got here at about 5:40, and walked in with a nice little.
Which is
bin.
exactly like 420, but different.
Exactly.
Hey, Carly, can you help me out for a second and just position that light so that it's facing these guys too? It's just not facing.
I
Because
do some of my
they
best
can't
work in the
see us
dark.
apparently.
Just turn it. Turn. Yeah, like that. There you go. That's the way.
I don't even know which way this joint goes.
You
That's better.
light up
Yeah.
my life.
Well, it was just. Oh, that's what happened. I had a toke on the screen, and I was like, "Why is there a toke sitting there?" And it just kind of fell off the screen.
So, today on the show, we're going to talk about the NORML National Conference that's happening, the NORML Canada National Conference, that is, happening in Toronto. That's going to be at Vapor Central, and I believe that's on the 26th. Wait, I don't
The
wanna-
newly renovated Vapor Central.
The newly renovated Vapor Central, yes.
And I
Chris
thought
has
the place
been-
was getting
Chris and
raided
Aaron hard
on
at work.
Sunday with the pictures that were being posted from their Facebook. Their Instagram.
Sorry, what?
Melonheads was busted. Somebody,
Oh,
somebody said
Melonheads.
it was Vapor Central.
And then I
yeah.
thought it was Vapor Central
No,
because
it
it
was
was on.
Melonheads.
It was Melonheads. So
Yeah, Melonheads got busted, yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, he's been battling with the cops back and forth for a while at his multiple different locations, I guess.
He was raided. I'm not sure he's been broken yet. But,
That's true, yeah. Pete never is really broken, I don't think. We'll have to have him on the show soon. Damn, I wish I would have thought of that. We could have had him on today's show, but yeah, I'd like to talk to him and find out what's going on. because
Well, I did think
haven't
of
yet.
it for you.
Pete?
I want to make mention about the raid.
Oh, but yes. Well, that is very nice of you, Johnny. Thank you for mentioning that. Oh, and also Remo, you mentioned Remo. He was supposed to be on the show today, but we're not sure if Remo's going to make it today or not because he was sick or
He
something.
woke up this morning feeling like
Not
what
so
I'd
good.
heard. I got the phone call from Sandy at 10 after 3 and seeing if he had left the house yet. She was on her way home, so I didn't get the phone call.
I see. So Remo may not show up. Unfortunately, the Urban Grower might not be with us today.
We tried.
But yes.
But but what we do have here is some of the Congo that he grew.
Very nice.
He's
That's
here
what
in
we're smoking.
spirits.
I smoked all the sift and gave it away to everybody, but we definitely have. Oh, it's okay. Just burning my finger.
There you go. I'm trying to make sure that the sound
Helps
is
when it's
okay for the
sticky
people
weed, eh?
at home. It sounds like it's just a little heavy in here, so I was just fucking with it. But yeah,
A little heady, go figure,
a
eh?
little
Just
heavy.
saying.
He ain't heavy. He's my brother.
As in, it's like heady glass.
You ain't heavy, my brother. But yeah, so we'll have John Vergados, who is one of the board members of NORML Canada, on. I interviewed him earlier. I have an interview to play to talk about their conference, who's going to be there, all of that good stuff. And also talk to John about Skunk Magazine, because John's the longtime editor of Skunk Mag. And
John's
John's
He's the
a
owner.
cool guy. So
He's the owner of Skunk Magazine.
Owner and editor, yes.
Do you happen to have the bud cam ready?
Do I happen to have the bud cam ready? I do. Let's get the bud cam going here. The hash cam today, Johnny? Dry sift melty cam. Here it is. No. It can come. It's got length. Look at that. Woo. The melty cam. Nice. It's still hashing up there, though.
I know, we're going to have to put some more on there for you.
Come into focus. Yeah, the good little screen you got going there. Okay. Okay. Hit that one. Oh, you want to do it? The cam? Okay. Let's do the cam. Here. You got to hold it up if you want to do it.
No,
You're holding it? Quite a production here. How many stoners does it take? Oh, yeah. Very nice. Delicious. Tasty, tasty. Wow.
So we're just a bunch of stoners here having some fun on a Friday.
Oh, that's good.
Well,
wait, is that the winning sift?
No.
Oh, okay. Wait,
No.
what did you win with?
The Congo, though, which is the
right.
joint that we're smoking. I actually happen to have a little bit of it, so you can see the difference in just the color.
Oh, and I also mentioned, not on the show, but in the show notes, your dry sift video that you put out, the melty dry sift video.
That's a huge one.
Nice. So let's see this on the cam. Dun, dun, dun. Where?
So here's the difference between the Congo and then this here is just some older sips. You can see the. So now we're looking at just the difference of basically just static dry sifted about 3 times, and then beside this pile is what I call tray swag. So I let a bunch of weed that I've been always going in the tray. I throw that into a bag, and I threw that few ounces of weed that most people throw in the garbage on a screen this morning and pulled out 1.2 grams of the most epic gland heads from just swaggy weed that we would throw away. So it was, it's really important that you guys, all that weed that you got left on your rolling tray and stuff like that, save it up, and one day you throw it on a screen.
There you go.
And that shit goes for like $150 a gram in clubs, apparently. It's ridiculous. And
My mic won't stay.
your mic won't stay.
There we go. Yeah, it tastes good. Very nice. The stuff we just smoked anyway, whatever that was.
I'm looking at Neil with the one hand on the bong, and most people go to the mothership, and, I'm just saying.
Neil's getting high over there. So tell us about the Canadian Concentrate Open last weekend. The final. This was the final.
Well, Neil was the main host, so maybe he should talk about it, because I was just hanging out.
Epic event.
Tell
we
us,
raised over
Neil.
$40,000 for the coalition.
Wow, that's awesome. $40,000 raised from an event. That's got to be the most money
that's
raised.
Really good.
The entrants were all amazing. I swear these people are at the cutting edge of what will be medicine in the future, and this is the groundwork being laid,
by the way,
for making the best extracts that are out there. It was just fabulous. The smell in the room sometimes, like after a sample would go out and people would start to smoke it, the aroma in the room was just overpowering, so amazing, so beautiful. I had to go plug money into the meters, of course, at some point.
Neil's perpetual struggle.
Yes, and it's constantly taking my money.
Yeah.
And I came back in after being outside, and it was like, wow, what a heavenly smell in here. So it was amazing.
That was that Congo
We ran
smell.
late. We went about 4 hours. Actually, 5 from when we were supposed to start. We didn't get out of here until 9 o'clock on Saturday.
Everybody was just so high.
Yeah, and everybody was just totally chill. They had a really great time. We're looking forward to doing it again next year. Come after the new year, we'll put together another one and do it again. Yeah.
And I'll come in at the end again with some dry sift.
Yeah, you'll come and take the prize at the end again.
Well, you know what? I was really surprised when everybody had all the concentrates. Horatio has some of the best when it comes to non-solvent. We had some rosin that came in 3rd place. That was from was it West Coast?
West Coast,
Yeah, West Coast, and then of course
and
second
third.
place was live resin. But sift came out on top, and it was to me it was a team effort, because I learned from Bubble Man, and then I always had the back of my head my buddy D420K going, Johnny, you got to do it more, clean it. So as I'm cleaning it, Darren's in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, I got to do this one more time. And of course, Remo just growing that epic resin. So I mean, it's what we're all about. So it was really nice to be able to bring that to the team, and bring it here and show you guys that, you know, once again, simple, easy mechanical separation with screens and carting is by far more superior than everything out there that's made with
solventless extract.
It's a solventless extract, and that's
the most amazing thing.
And that was the best part about it. Is just, you know, it's what we preach, what we talk about. And hey, thanks guys, thanks for enjoying.
We always
it was hard work.
Say if you enter, you'll win.
And I didn't want to win or any cups, and I said.
I will say that the final 3 winners were not
so close.
Were not separated by very much.
No, it was a tight rope,
it was an extremely tight race.
But you know what? First place is first place.
Oh man, that's all they look at in the future.
Yeah. See, now you have to enter the Karma Cup.
No, well, the whole thing is my resin that I grow, particularly is for myself. It's for my condition. So I grow certain strains to get me through my day. So it's not like when I entered into TY there in 2012.
Aren't you going? Are you going to the Prairie Cup? You're going to the Prairie Cup.
I'm going to be going to the
Prairie. No. You're not. I thought you were for some reason.
No, I won't.
Oh, Johnny.
I'll definitely be there in support of you know, all my friends and
just go clean up at all these places. Why not?
Well, you know, it's I have my first place, second, and third, and now I got a first place again. So you know, I'm quite happy with it. I have nothing to prove.
You can retire now, I guess. Eh?
It's not retiring.
Listen to this.
It's not retiring.
Rest on your laurels.
It's really, you know what? Go to my YouTube channel. Anybody can do it. It's quite easy. I mean, it's. I just have a passion. I love what I do.
So, did you guys make a video of making that?
No, we didn't.
You could.
What's funny is I started filming in the morning, even before Remo showed up, about me doing my hash room, and I was like, you see where it goes with this, because we didn't know if we were going to enter or not.
Right.
I didn't even know we were entering until 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, so it wasn't even discussed until. So I had previously done a little bit of video on it, as how to make your dry sift melt.
Right.
And it turned out to Team Dry Sift for the Win was the end of the title of the video that I made. So I was making the video on how to make your dry sift melt, and it turns out that the video I made turned to be the first place winner.
Nice. That's
so it's kind of cool.
As it should be. All these things should be videotaped. We should all be wearing GoPros all the time.
It's 14 minutes or 15 minutes. It's not a big long one, but
we'll play
it's good detailed.
We'll play that video at the end of the show.
There you go.
We'll play your video about the sifting of hash, the melting of sifting of hash. And we're also, I have a video
I think we did a video with, me and Remo did a video last night.
Did you? Is it up yet?
I think it's supercharged.
Oh, that's the supercharged one?
No, not that one.
No, that's the brand new one.
We did one last night when we went over I brought over, I had just under a gram of the Congo winning. And I brought that to his place last night, and we puffed down hard and just had a good little sesh because we never had a chance even to try. He never tried it, and I only had tried it a little bit to see if it melted on the screen before I jumped in my car and flew into town. So it was kind of nice to sit down.
Your car can fly now?
My car, it has wings. It's a
got a hover conversion. It is 2015. Just
well,
like
I am
Back
looking
to the Future
into the new conversions. Actually, I've been looking at the Time Traveler. Me and Tracy have been working on that for quite some time.
Yes.
Tracy Curley.
The flux capacitor?
The flux capacitor. I've actually implemented it into the hybrid Subaru.
Oh, nice.
It's going to work off of. It's going to work off of smoke energy.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And it's going to be generated through THC.
Missed the Bud Buddy car.
Yeah, you know what? You inhale and you blow through the thing, and it powers the car.
I like it.
And of course, it's hands-free.
This microphone is killing me. It keeps sliding out of here. Okay, so I'm going to play this video. This is Remo's Concentrate Cup entries video. So this is showing off some of the
entries.
And
he says he's smoking it, and he looks at me and goes, dude, you're going to win. And then that was it. I couldn't believe he showed me that video last night.
Okay, so we'll play the video, and then we'll be back in just a minute or two. This one's a short video, so it's only like 3 minutes long. So enjoy.
We're here with Tim at the Canadian Concentrate Open, and it's time to look at some samples. So what are we looking at this time, Tim? What do you got?
We got a lot of stuff. We got some live resin. There's some shatters. There's some distillates in there. There's a sift sample, but it's still on its way, so we might not get to film that one.
I've heard of the sift sample.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. So, yeah, I think we should just go and have a look.
Let's have a look. So this is what you got so far? Okay, I think we'll play that game again. Shatter or
I think the viewers like to guess.
Yeah. To me, that looks like a shatter.
Yeah, I would
nice
say
shatter.
So.
Oh, looks like it's going to blow away, too. Okay, and that looks like a rosin.
I'd say live resin.
It could be a live resin as well.
Yeah, I'm saying live resin.
Okay. And what's the next one?
Oh, that's a shatter.
Shatter? What do you say?
That's a shatter.
Shatter.
Oh! Severe blowing.
That was.
Okay, hold on, wait.
Wow.
That was very sad.
Okay.
Immensely sad.
Well, that one was face up.
Well, luckily that didn't get wrecked.
Okay, well, you know,
That one.
let's move on here.
Keep our hands
Okay, what's this one here?
closer.
Okay, Tim, don't move. Don't move, Tim.
Yeah.
That looks like rosin to me.
Yeah, it does.
I'd say a rosin sample.
Rosin. And this is a shatter.
That's shatter for sure.
It's kind of like a Beard Brothers kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then this looks like some sort of sugar wax.
I'd
or-
say sugar wax, yeah.
On that one, there you go.
Andy Dabber.
Yeah, I'd say sugar wax. I'd say another shatter.
Yeah, and then more sugar wax.
I'd say another sugar wax.
How many entries you got this time?
So there's, what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and one on its way. It's going to be 9 today.
9.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Are we going to do the gauntlet tonight?
Not only are we going to do the gauntlet, but I got some of the past months to add to this gauntlet.
So it's going to be a super gauntlet.
Super gauntlet.
Super Gauntlet. That's
Look at Chives. He's
Yeah,
totally
I'm quite
in.
excited about that. Yeah, 'cause I
Super
gotta ride
Gauntlet.
home. So Super Gauntlet, then a ride
So
home.
we got a lot of the volunteers here, and I know they've been, anxiously waiting to do this gauntlet with us, Remo. So, we're going to have to, it's going to be a big gauntlet this time.
Right on. Well, you know what time it is, Tim.
It's time to roll a joint.
It is time to roll a joint. But in the meantime, keep watching Urban Remo for more weed videos.
Okay, let's pack these up.
There's Remo. Remo's awesome. Love that guy. There we go.
420, guys. Might be 422 now. I'm puffing solid through
Yeah, a
it.
couple minutes after 420. Everybody out there.
Well, 420
Smoke 'em.
actually technically goes until 4:30, doesn't it? It's 420
I
something.
guess.
I've
Doesn't it
it's
just go until the
420
next 420?
pretty much
That's what I think.
24/7,
12
isn't it?
hours to get your 420 in, if that's what you're saying.
Yeah, you get 24 hours of 420, or 12 hours of 420 until the next one, and then.
24 hours.
Exactly. Yeah. Let me just see the chat here. Yes, the chatters agree that it's always 420. Canadian Giant says.
420.
Apparently, it's always 420 somewhere.
Yes. Except at Pam McCall's house. Yeah.
Poor Pammy.
I got this
poor
from
Pam.
the
Got
guy
Rejected
down in,
by the entire VPD now.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Just hold on a sec, Johnny.
Okay.
Pam McCall, rebuked by the VPD.
Yeah.
They shut her down, said they're not going to pay attention to her complaints anymore. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They dismissed her complaints.
What were her complaints?
She's a fanatic.
That weed smells?
Who, what?
What was her complaints? I missed them.
She
Her
complains about
complaint
the
is that
dispensary.
there's dispensaries in Vancouver, and that's
Oh,
a
that
crime.
yeah, okay.
That selling marijuana is a criminal act, and it should be enforced. Except that the truth is that in a free country, you have the right to possess and do whatever you want unless you're harming somebody else, because a crime is intentionally causing harm to somebody else. So these laws against possessing cannabis are an absolute violation of our unalienable natural rights to be free people and do as we choose unless we're hurting somebody. So for the police to be enforcing bad laws is actually the crime that she's asking to have committed, because by shutting these dispensaries down, many people are being harmed by that, because the dispensaries are filling an actual need for Canadians that isn't being met by our federal government. And these people are in serious need in many cases. They have serious illnesses going on. And to shut down a dispensary, that harms a lot of people, and that's intentionally causing harm to people, which is the definition of a crime. So, yeah, Pamela McCall should be locked in
What
jail
he
along
said.
with Harper and Ambrose and any of the other prohibitionists.
Yeah, she takes it to the next level, but again, I think we need to be reminded that the people who make it possible for her to do what she's doing, that's Sam and pharmaceutical companies that are, they're putting all that stuff out. They're funding this stuff. She's affiliated with them, so we know who this is and why it's happening. Maybe they get pawns like her to go out and do it, but really there's an organized campaign working against us.
Many people are profiting from prohibition. It's been a model that we've involved in for over 100 years, and lots of groups have figured out how to profit from that, especially the pharmaceutical companies who were behind the original prohibition to begin with.
They use these
Are they the
anti-drug
ones that
groups.
made the billions of dollars off of
But
the...
The hypocrisy is just over the top.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's craziness.
we should have figured this out by now, and in fact, almost all of us have. It's just that the governments are still being influenced by the corporations, by those people that are profiting and they're still doing their bidding instead of ours. This is the world we're living in, still a little bit upside down. I just wrote an article on that. It's in 12 High Chicks. You can see it at 12highchicks.com, talking about the world being a little bit upside down and why that is the case and why it shouldn't be the case. So check those people out. 12 High Chicks, that's an awesome magazine. .com, yeah. I'm one of a number of different writers, including Opus. So, yeah, Jade and
lots
Tamara
of stuff
Cartwright.
going on there.
Really good staff of writers there.
Yeah, 12highchicks.com. Check it out.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about Jeb Bush today with David Malmo-Levine, but he's not here yet. He was supposed to be. He's like, I got to go on early. I got to go on 4:30. I'm like, Dave, you got to wait till like 5. Can you go on after 5? He's like, no. And now he's not here. So
he'll come in like gangbusters and tell you all about it at some point pretty soon here.
Maybe he'll be right on the dot. What time
It's not
is
what
it?
I
He's
thought
got
you were
4
going to say you
minutes.
wanted to talk about. I thought you were going to talk about the letters sent out to 13 dispensaries.
Yeah, I
by
want
the
to talk
federal
about
government.
that.
Well, that's right. So we should talk about the letter as well. I do want to talk about
not sent
Jeb
out
Bush.
as much as emailed, and not looking very official. Not
No,
signed
the
by
email that
anybody.
originally came out, yeah.
Sent to 13 dispensaries out of the 100 that are here, or that probably represents 65 or 70 different groups, and didn't go out to some that blatantly advertise all over the place, like weeds, and did go out to the Compassion Club, the original Compassion Club.
And
Well, I
Bank.
always said if they're going to take down the industry, you're going to go after people. Did Dana, the dispensary, get one?
Oh, no, I don't think, I'm not sure if Dana did. Actually, it wasn't the Vancouver Seed Bank who got one, but another seed company got one. And that's kind of strange. I don't know what.
Very strange.
And the original emails didn't have any information on them. Looked really strange.
Yeah,
People
had to be
weren't sure if
verified that it was
yeah.
actually from Health Canada. They said that it was, and then they said that this is going to be accompanied with fines of up to $5 million and 2 years in jail for non-compliance to their cease and desist order.
So
I know, John, you've got a theory that
I got a huge theory, like a slimy politician move.
yeah, I mean it is that
not gonna
30-day.
do it.
They've been
Well,
given
are they
30
gonna
days
do
to
it?
do
Yes,
this.
they give them 30 days to do it, and 10 days before the election.
Yeah, that's October 9th. That
October
30
9th.
days runs out. So
You raid the clubs all across Canada. You make international news. You're on every radio station, stuff like that. So, I mean, is it Harper's way of trying to win at the polls, or is he going to go out with a bang? Is he going to say, you know what, I'm done with this marijuana industry, issue a bunch of fines, charge a lot of the people, and then 10 days later, the election comes in, he's gone, but that's already stuck. So, I mean,
So
my
you
opinion...
you think Harper's going to pull it out at the last minute and use it as an election tool?
Yes, that's
and
why he's
bust
doing
a bunch
it.
of dispensaries in those
And
last 10
I
days.
just say I would ask them, just everybody on the 8th, take everything home, and on the 9th, 10 days to that election, man. Don't give him that. Don't give him that.
They won't. No, come on.
I
Everybody
just-
has to put it out stronger, man.
Yeah,
you
you know
gotta
what?
hold
No,
strong.
yeah, but you hold
and if anybody
strong.
tries to bust
And then
you,
what
you
happens with
stand up
that?
to
What
them.
happens with that? Media, like crazy, all over the news, all over the radio.
So what?
Harper,
Media for
Harper,
him doing
Harper.
a bad thing, him acting like a fascist.
Yeah, depending. Let's see what happens, right?
See, I don't think Stephen wants that kind of negative attention on him, because that's the kind of shit that'll make people motivated to go out and vote just before election time. And
Yeah, I
he
think
knows
that would
the
backfire
majority of
big time if that's what he's
Canadians
doing.
So I mean,
wanna-
on
wanna
our
legalize,
eyes, we feel like it would backfire on him. Maybe in his eyes, he feels like he'll win it. So it all depends on which way
he's
you
not
look at
stupid.
it.
They know the polls.
That's
These
just
guys
my
know.
opinion.
See, they just want their base
That's
going
my
to vote.
opinion.
They don't want the public to even know
So
there's
when
an
it
election happening.
happens, and it's all over the news and stuff like that, I'm gonna say I told you so.
Okay, I see.
Well, even if
I'll
they
take
don't
that
raid
back.
these places, they're already sending
I
out
don't believe it'll
shockwaves to
happen.
people for sure. I mean, getting an email from Health Canada, them being threatened with those types of penalties.
Well, you're looking at
that's still
groups that
scaring a lot of
support
people.
patients, threatening with $5 million fine, 2 years in jail to the ones that are representing the
But the
clubs in
Vancouver
question.
Police Department said.
Well, the
it's
Vancouver
not-
Police Department doesn't trump federal law. So
No, but they said if something's going to happen and the RCMP is going to come in, they'd know about it first.
And so then we're hearing through the grapevine that the RCMP and the Vancouver PD are working together in compliance of boat rating.
No, wait a second.
Well, there is a third-hand report of that, but I mean that's not
So we don't-
verified.
we don't
in any
even
way.
know, right?
Get
So
me a real
is-
source on that one, and I'll believe it. But so far, that's just
And when the clubs-
VPD outright says there's no way that's happening, we're not going to let it happen. It was almost like you could see them almost laughing in the newspaper quotes from.
And we've
Constable
had other
Montague.
leaders from British Columbia step up. Uzal Desange had something to say about that. Cash Eads had something to say about that as well. They both don't think that would happen, and they think the optics would be horrible if it did. So
Yeah.
I agree with that as well.
I seriously
But
doubt
these
it's
are
gonna
very interesting times we're living in, I'll tell you. These things right out of the blue, the regulation of the dispensaries that
Back
happened.
to
and all
street
that.
dealing for 10 days or 9 days. You know what? I mean, I don't know what to
Well-
say. I mean, if that's his plan, and he's put out the letters, and he's threatened the industry, and he's trying to put in for LPs. It's a huge commercial industry involved here now. So you got to take a look at the money that's involved, and the LPs want it down. Tweed does. Tilray, they all want these clubs
to the
shut
microphone.
down. They all want these clubs shut down. We know that
That's
because
true.
it's affecting the bottom dollar. They put millions upon millions of dollars into an industry, and they're not getting any real. They're getting sales, but the amount of sales that
Well-
go through Vancouver and these other clubs that are popping up because of what's happening in Vancouver is only going to affect their bottom dollar. So it has to be shut down. They can't have weeds in every town across Canada because they got Tweed and they spent millions, and weeds is buying it from mom and pop. So I mean, and you know what? They're pushing.
I'm
on
told that the
regulation.
LPs or there are LPs that are in that group of 176 that have applied for licenses in the city here. I've also been told that Tweed has taken over what were info centers in Ontario that they're planning on turning into storefronts down the road as well.
Well, they've already looked at that, and this is the direction they're going at. You know, in through the indoor.
It has
out
to
through
be.
The back door.
Yeah, they have to see the future
And
as
what
having
you're going to have
storefronts.
is you start getting these. Well, where's these clubs are not going to be supplied by mom and pop. They're going to be supplied through corporations that have regulated control, and it'll be like anything else. Like if you're buying a bong or a Medtain or anything else like that, you're going to make your margin on, and it'll be just like an industry
that's
that
the
we all
battle now.
wanted. It's everything we've all called for is legalization. Just not the way we want to see it. Don't
No.
take away my right to grow. But they are going to put in centers that are going to cater to patients that be able to walk in freely to be able to access cannabis like they are in different parts of the world. We're seeing down in Washington, Colorado, and I welcome it every day. It's just the way it's
We need to
happening.
protect the growers. That's the thing.
Well, and we're
we can't
in court
just have
for that. And then one
Stephen
thing
Harper's
we've
dealers.
seen all over the world is they've never been able to take away the right for someone to grow once it was granted. But over time, they choose to use the new system. So, I mean, by the way I look at it, I'm always growing. And when I can't physically, and it's possibly that I can't genuinely be able to, have my own medicine, well, then I know at that point in my life that the ways the system is changing, it's going to be access. It's going to be 100% regulated, clean, standardized medicine that I'm going to be able to grab. So
I agree, but the fight is to protect growers and the ability for people to grow their own for
100%.
themselves.
And
That's
my biggest thing. That's why I do my videos.
I mean,
and
I
teach
think there
people
should
how
be
to
mom and pop stores as well all over the place, getting it from wherever they want, out of their own gardens if they want to. But, I don't know how we win that battle or how we fight that battle.
Well, you know what?
I wish David was here because he's the master
Mom and
of
pops
fighting
are the
monopolies.
ones
for
that
sure.
have generated the industry and have kept it alive and flowing, and it's always been there. And like I say, never take away my right to grow. Grow your own.
You're not free if you can't grow a plant.
Yeah, it's
And,
just a plant and
as
plant
you,
a seed.
As you always know, that's
and
my
I kept
big
saying,
issue
how
is
come we don't
freedom.
have the dollar a seed company? You know what? The seeds shouldn't be worth what they are. I mean, if seeds were cheaper and the amount that I can grow and what I can produce, I mean, everybody should be growing. And if we drop the price on certain things, maybe we see more of a different industry of more people growing.
Yeah, man.
I'm trying to. Here we go. I'm trying to get a video up here. Now, as you guys, this is kind of. I'm jumping around topics here, but did you see the ban on Nick Diaz, the sports?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
That whole deal?
5 years. And I liked what, I can't think of her, the woman who stood up this morning, or was it
Ronda
yesterday?
Rousey?
Ronda Rousey. And she just kind of went, you know what? This is some guy's on steroids. He doesn't get suspended and he can hurt somebody. This guy's smoking weed and he's suspended for 5 years and he can't cause any more harm to anybody. It's ridiculous. And it was great to see that. Yeah, it's amazing that they went after, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I wanted to see what she said actually.
His response is 8 minutes long, and it's pretty good.
Yeah,
And hers response.
Malmo-Levine
I like
is
what
in
she
the
said.
room.
There
he is on time.
Hi, David. We do have this video here. So this is Ronda Rousey talking in Australia about the cannabis ban
Oh no,
on
this
Nick
is a
Diaz.
different girl. This was another one that was told. I saw that Matt Barron posted.
No,
on
that's
Facebook
just a
this
different
morning.
girl in the picture right now. Oh, is it? Yeah.
Okay.
But here, let's. David. A rabble arouser.
A rebel arouser.
I'm just gonna put this video on for y'all. It looks like it's not quite framed properly, but
It's
we'll
sad
do our
to see
best.
that in today's age that they're actually making such a public announcements about banning someone from fighting for 5 years for the simple use of maybe a joint or a puff. It's not, whatever. It's just ridiculous. But yet the guy on steroids or using cocaine is good to go. You can do cocaine and use steroids and you're good to go within a year, but you smoke weed, you're done for 5 years. We're going to strip your ass and take everything away from you.
It's weird that they think
What
it's
the
a
fuck?
performance-enhancing drug, I guess, then?
Speechless.
Hey, excuse me? I can tell you right now, marijuana enhances me every day. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't be here. So it's a definitely
Makes you want to fight.
enhancing
You
drug.
know what I'd like to see even more than a Ronda Rousey Pamela McCall debate on marijuana?
David wants to see a Ronda Rousey Pamela McCall debate.
No,
He
I want
wants-
to see a Ronda Rousey Pamela McCall mixed martial artist.
David wants to see him fight instead. Yeah, death match.
A death match.
With that music from Star Trek playing when the Klingon women fight or whatever.
Cage match with the Klingon soundtrack.
Yeah, that'd be good. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Well, let's watch what she did have to say here. And
Here
we'll be
we
back
go.
in a minute or two.
Adam, Nova Entertainment Radio. Question for Rhonda. Was there any hesitation, I guess, bringing the fight forward 2 months to November, or was the opportunity to fight here in Australia too good to turn up?
Dana didn't even finish asking me the question before I said, and he's like, so this thing in Australia? Yes. Like, that's how, that's how the conversation went. And, yeah, I'm so excited. I'm happier that it's here in Australia than in Vegas, to be honest. Really, I am. And, yeah, I think that everything is meant to be, and I'm meant to defend my title like on this soil in front of these people. And it's the one thing I'm looking forward to the most in the world right now.
Hi, Rhonda. Silvio Morelli from Fight Magazine. Rhonda, you had a pretty low point in your life years ago where you were literally training and living out of your car, I believe. Can you sort of give us a bit of an insight into what was happening and what was the thing that got you through and onto your career in MMA and obviously the entertainment industry?
Well, what was going on was, I think, a result of the unfair treatment of U.S. Olympians, which really pales in comparison to how unfair it is that Nick got 5 year suspension. I'm sorry, no one asked me anything, but I have to say something. It's so not right for him to be suspended 5 years for marijuana. I'm against for them even testing for weed at all. It's not a performance-enhancing drug. It has nothing to do with athletic competition. It's only tested for political reasons. They say, oh, it's only for your safety to keep you from hurting yourself because you're out there. You know what, then why don't they test for all of the other things that could possibly hurt us that we could be under the influence of while we're out there? There's no reason for them to be testing for weed. It's in athletics, the beautiful thing about it is it separates everything from politics. It shouldn't be involved at all. And Nick is a really close and dear friend of mine, so of course I'm going to defend him. But I see it's so unfair if one person tests for steroids that could actually really hurt a person, and the other person smokes a plant that makes them happy, and he gets suspended for 5 years, whereas the guy that could have hurt someone so much that he could have died in there gets a slap on the wrist. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. And you know what? Like, it doesn't make me a bad person for saying it. It just, I can't believe it's not being said more. And yeah, I think they really should free Nick Diaz. But you know what? It's not Dana's decision either. You can't get mad at him. He had nothing to do with it. Yeah, I'm sure if he had the choice, I'm not going to speak for him, he would have given him a lot less. But you know what? I don't think that marijuana should be part of the conversation at all. I think it's an invasion of privacy for them to test for it, and they have no right.
Yeah.
Boom.
Nice. Wow, that was really good.
I love the look on the commentator's face after he didn't play that, but he's just like in shock. He's just like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened.
Good. Wow,
yeah,
that was
good
great.
honor, man. It just made me, it was, you know what, that's sticking up for exactly what we believe in.
Yeah.
All right.
So we have David Malmo-Levine's ass here, turned around
It's
to the
right
camera. There. Yeah. Oh, here, Creed, I need to throw this at you here. It should be transferred, I hope. Yeah, there it is. Thanks, brother.
Testes.
There's a copy of my interview on there for you. Copy of my interview on there for you, free of charge. Thanks, man.
Shocking expose of criminal government. The conspiracy secrets of an Iran.
I always like having you on the show, David, of course. You are on almost every week. But the reason that I wanted you to come on today was because I was thinking of you as I stumbled across a video of a couple, of Rand and Jeb. Good old Rand, good old Jeb, duking it out for the Republican nomination. They both want to be the president. They both want to be the Republican president. Of course, Jeb would be the third Bush. Bush the third.
Really? That should be illegal.
Now, David knows a
Just
lot
saying.
about old Jeb. And
did
Jeb's been
anyone
involved in all kinds of crazy things. And David's put me on to some of these things. David's compiling a lot of these in a large piece.
We're writing a book.
Yeah.
Writing a book.
And so, but this one, David, so tell us about Jeb a little bit here.
Well, Jeb Bush is comes from a long line of war profiteers and death merchants. The family has been doing dirty deeds since, I think, Sam Bush, which is Prescott's dad, W's great-grandfather. He was a war profiteer in World War I. Prescott Sheldon is his grandpa, and he was a Nazi banker. George Herbert Walker Bush was head of the CIA before he became vice president and then president. And this is during the years he was vice president and president of the United States. George Herbert Walker Bush oversaw all the drug armies of the United States of America. He was basically in charge of the drug war. And he also was still raising money for the CIA with drug deals, which all came out during the Iran-Contra affair, or at least partially came out. They hid the cocaine part and just focused on the weapons part. But one of the guys involved in that scam, a guy named Al Martin, who was kind of a liaison between the Army and the CIA, and he was involved in CIA drug trafficking operations for the entire time Bush was vice president and president. Well, or he left in, I think, 86 or 87. But anyway, for years, he was helping the CIA smuggle cocaine. And it just so happened that a lot of the fraud and a lot of the assassinations and a lot of the drug deals that the CIA were involved in, also the Bush boys were involved in, being CIA brats. They would basically do what Daddy told them, and then they would get involved in the fraud themselves in order to make some money as well. It's always good to work for the CIA because you get to feather your own nest as well. Let me read to you from The Conspirators by Al Martin. On page 239, we get into a little Jeb here. Greenberg would have the ability to put Jeb Bush directly into having knowledge of that development, of profiting from the development financially, as well as knowledge of what that development was when Oliver North and Jeb Bush sat down at dinner on the second floor of the International Hotel in Miami talking about it. I don't know how Jeb could possibly deny it, since much of that meeting was recorded by a variety of sources. The Miami Herald was there. There were some other people that commonly covered due diligence meetings. Unfortunately, there weren't investigative reporters. They were business reporters, and a lot of what was said didn't really mean anything to them. They didn't really tape record what they should have, in my opinion. Dennis Radinsky, another interesting guy, was a very flamboyant CIA-connected doper at the time. This is what we used to call a nav to doper instead of an aerodoper. In other words, he ran dope out of high-speed boats. Dennis had a customized marine shop on the Fort Lauderdale River, just behind the Pier 66 development, just down the river a bit. It was a custom marine shop that built high-speed racing boats and repaired boats, engines, and high-speed engines. That was what he used as a cover, but Dennis had worked for a long time with some much more infamous dopers with CIA connections, such as Jack DeVoe, Tony Fernandez, and Bill Blakemore, and so forth. Dennis was squeezed very, very hard after Iran-Contra fell apart because of what he knew. Dennis had this very unfortunate knowledge, and I say it's unfortunate because many times it is unfortunate to know the truth, that there was a connection between Jeb Bush and Don Arano. Arano was a famous boat builder in the North Miami Beach who built the Arano speedboats and who was subsequently murdered a few days before he was to testify before the Hughes Commission hearing. Anyway, Dennis was one of the very few people who knew because of his relationship with Arano. They were both in the same business, building speedboats. Dennis was supposed to get a piece of that contract. You may remember the $5 million contract Noriega gave Arano through Oliver North at Magnum Marine, the name of the corporation, to build 5 gunboats for the Panamanian Navy. Dennis was supposed to get a piece of that, and he was very familiar with the negotiation of that contract because he was in Arano's office at the same time Oliver North was there. It was North who was supposed to steer this piece of business to Arano, and Arano was supposed to give him a percentage of the money back as a kickback for, as North would say, like to say, the cause. The problem was that North had mentioned to him that Jeb Bush was also aware of this transaction, and Jeb was going to get a piece of it as well. Jeb was extremely familiar with what these boats were actually used for, that although they were going to be gunboats for the Panamanian Navy, they were actually going to be used for the transportation of narcotics. Despite his professionalism, North never hesitated to tell you who else was involved in something that he let slip out. And Dennis remembered that, and he made notes of it when he was there because he realized what he had heard was dangerous information. Ollie essentially screwed Don Arano and kept the $5 million for himself. Well, not for himself, for the cause, as Ollie liked to put it. Eventually, of course, it went into other people's pockets. But Arano got fucked out of his money, and he's sitting there with a signed contract saying, I can't deliver these gunboats without the money. For those who think Ollie is such a wonderful guy, he's cold, steely, calculating killer. No more. And that's what the man is. And it goes on and on. But it details a huge amount of the bank fraud, insurance fraud, real estate fraud, the gun running, the drug smuggling, and the assassinations that the Bush family, Jeb, W, and Poppy were all involved in from the get-go. Poppy started smuggling cocaine in 52 or 53, and it's been the CIA has been actually dealing drugs its entire history. In fact, before the CIA existed, it was the OSS, and they started to deal drugs. So I wouldn't trust these guys as far as I could throw them, especially the Bush and Clinton families. They've been in this drug business forever, since their political careers began, and we're better off with a guy like Bernie Sanders or someone like don't vote for a Bush or a Clinton, or you'll just get more drug war, because they personally profit off the drug war. And you should look into this book. If you haven't seen this book yet, read this book. It's called The Conspirators by Al Martin. There are others. David, I have a library full of these books. This isn't just based on one book, This isn't based on one book. This is based on... I have a room just devoted to CIA drug dealing. A room of my house. Mm-hmm. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4... It has like 4 shelves in it, plus another shelf just for videos. Yeah. And we're going to create a wonderful history of CIA drug dealing, and we're going to put a show out on High Society one of these days, too. We're going to have a really sexy high society show I have in the making, too, on marijuana and aphrodisiacs. So I've got big plans, making big moves.
So what about Jeb Bush and marijuana? Is Jeb Bush just a cocaine guy?
Well, I'm sure he's smoked pot. All the Bushes smoke pot. But what makes you money, the quickest money, is cocaine. Yeah. because they had basically a virtual monopoly on cocaine smuggling and cocaine dealing. They would just hand over all their competition to the DEA so that it looks like they were doing something.
Right.
And they get away with all of it themselves.
Right, and it's not just this one book. I mean, you really literally do have a library, and you've been compiling this information into something something palatable, tangible that we can put out there.
Yeah,
and
similar
when you
to
put
my...
all the pieces together, it's actually pretty scary.
Well, it shows you that this has been going on actually since the 1800s, since Skull and Bones used to be the biggest drug smugglers in America. And when you look at how the CIA was formed basically out of Yale and out of Skull and Bones, you'll realize this is just an extension of the 1800s opium wars and how you make more money dealing drugs when they're illegal. So it's in your interest to make them illegal if you're an illegal drug smuggler or if you have the powers of one. Say a guy like the CIA who can tell a customs agent to go fuck themselves. You don't have the clearance to open this briefcase. Sorry, here, call this guy and allow me through the border after you're done.
And if you don't just take David's word for it either. At this point, you can go and read Gary Webb's great
Gary Webb's book, Dark Alliance. You can read a book called George Bush, the CIA and the Mafia. There's another one called Bushwhacked. There's another one called Crossfire. There's another one called, oh my goodness, there's so many. Bring the Boys Back Home. There's another one there. There is a ton about, Family of Secrets, another great Bush book. You can read all of these, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There is a ton of information on CIA drug dealing, and we'll be getting that to you as soon as possible.
The reason that I bring it up and I wanted to talk to you about it was because Jeb Bush, and I have the clip here from CNN, was called out by Rand Paul in their Republican nomination meeting, and Rand Paul said it was a hypocrisy, and then Jeb Bush kind of outed himself and said, I'm the guy who smoked pot, blah, 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 and has this little
He's
exchange.
trying to look cool.
Yeah.
But if you check out, say, another book, Barry and the Boys by Daniel Hopsicker, and it goes into, there at one time existed a videotape that Barry Seal made of W and Jeb unloading cocaine.
That's what he said.
That's what he said, and I don't see why he would have a reason to lie. Making shit up about the Bushes is probably really unwise, even more than threatening to tell the truth about the Bushes. They might take that quite personally.
Well, and Barry Seal isn't with us anymore.
Barry Seal died 2 weeks after he threatened Herbert Walker Bush with outing his family and probably with that videotape.
Right, and even Gary Webb, the journalist who I mentioned, who wrote extensively about it, he is also dead, committed suicide by shooting himself twice in the head.
There's a movie about him.
Twice in the head.
It did not question the official suicide story, but it did show what he was up against. It's called Kill the Messenger.
Right.
It's a Gary Webb story.
That's a great movie. You should definitely check that out.
And we have to realize that the drug war will never end until this element of it is common knowledge, and we can just say, look, the CIA doesn't get a slush fund for coups and assassinations anymore. You don't get to overthrow governments.
They have to raise money
using
somehow.
cocaine money. Yeah. Well, I don't think we should cut off all their dirty sources of money by legalizing and regulating all vices.
Right. So that
the gangsters have no money.
Yeah. And, really also if you want to look to somebody who has gone on record about their dealings with the CIA, Freeway Ricky Ross, and everything that happened with the crack epidemic in the hood, and then pumping that shit in there, basically.
There are good documentaries on the subject. One I'd recommend is the American Drug War, The Last White Hope.
Right.
And then there's others. Just Google Freeway Ricky Ross, and there's tons of stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll say it again. The CIA, the biggest drug dealers in the world, and the drug war will never end until that is exposed and common knowledge. So we'll do our best to do that. We'll do our part out here.
I think, David, you should work on something for this election period before November gets here that is about Bush.
Just everything on Jeb. I'll get a Jeb and Hillary kind of primer of cocaine deals. Jeb and Hillary's cocaine
Hillary
dealing.
too. The Clintons.
The Clintons. You don't want any of them, because who was looking after Mena, Arkansas during the 80s? The Clintons. That was their job. Look the other way while Barry Seal flew tons and tons and tons of cocaine with the U.S. military support
The Clintons and the
into
Bushes
Mena,
are
Arkansas.
linked.
Bushes and Clintons are family. They go to the same picnics together. There's actually a great picture of Clinton and Bush at a picnic table, and there's other politicians around them and drinking beers together.
Yeah.
They go golfing together. These are tight,
Yeah.
close people. And the joke I told Mike Rupert when he came to town was that what was the difference between how Clinton got the job of president and how Bush got the job of president? W. He said, how? I said, when Clinton got the job, they said, hey, we move all this coke and one day you'll be president. With W, they said, hey, easy on the coke and one day you'll be president. And he laughed at that one too.
Mike Rupert.
Mike Rupert laughed at my Bush cocaine joke.
Mike Rupert isn't with us either anymore.
He also suicided himself, but I suspect
Be careful,
David. He was kind of
I think
depressed.
That was probably,
But I'm
and
not
who knows?
depressed.
I mean, Gary Webb may have been.
I know I work at a place or organize a place called the Stressed and Depressed, but I myself am not depressed.
Yeah.
If I appear suicided, don't believe it. I'm never giving up, no matter how painful it gets.
I wouldn't ever believe it, David, if you committed suicide.
There you go. I'm in it for the long haul.
Especially
100%.
once this book comes out.
I'm in it for the
long haul.
I haven't smoked that much weed. I've been listening to you.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's watch Jeb and Rand have their marijuana exchange. Yeah, this is good stuff. I like that Rand Paul. He's not too bad. That's for a Republican.
Legalized. Enjoy it until January 2017 because I will enforce the federal laws against marijuana. Will you?
I think one of the great problems and what the American people don't like about politics is hypocrisy. People who have one standard for others and not for themselves. There's at least one prominent example on the stage of someone who says they smoked pot in high school. And yet the people who are going to jail for this are poor people, often African Americans and often Hispanics. And yet the rich kids who use drugs aren't. I personally think that this is a crime for which the only victim is the individual. And I think that America has to take a different attitude. I'd like to see more rehabilitation and less incarceration. I'm a fan of the drug courts, which try to direct you back towards work and less time in jail. But the bottom line is the states, we say we like the 10th Amendment until we start talking about this. And I think the federal government's gone too far. I think that the war on drugs has had a racial outcome and really has been something that's really damaged our inner cities. Not only do the drugs damage them, we damage them again by incarcerating them and then preventing them from getting employment over time. So I don't think that the federal government should override the states. I believe in the 10th Amendment, and I really will say that the states are left to themselves.
I want to give the person that you called a hypocrite an opportunity to respond. Do you want to identify that person?
Well, I think if we left it open, we could see how many people smoked pot in high school.
Is there somebody you were specifically thinking of?
Well, you know, the thing is...
He was
is
talking
that,
about me.
Yeah, I was talking
That's
about...
what I thought, but I wanted to say it.
Well, I wanted to make it easier for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just did.
Governor Bush, please.
So 40 years ago, I smoked marijuana, and I admit it. I'm sure that other people might have done it and may not want to say it in front of 25 million people. My mom's not happy that I just did. That's true. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. We have a serious epidemic of drugs that goes way beyond marijuana. What goes on in Colorado, as far as I'm concerned, that should be a state decision. But if you look at the problem of drugs in this society today, it's a serious problem. Rand, you know this because you're campaigning in New Hampshire like all of us, and you see the epidemic of heroin, the overdoses of heroin that's taking place. People's families are being torn apart. It is appropriate for the government to play a consistent role to be able to provide more treatment, more prevention. We're the state that has the most drug courts across every circuit. In Florida, there are drug courts to give people a second chance. That's the best way to do this.
But let me respond. The thing is that in Florida, Governor Bush campaigned against medical marijuana. That means that a small child like Morgan Hintz that has 500 seizures a day is failing on 9 traditional medications, is not allowed to use cannabis oil, and that if they attempt to do that in Florida, they will take the child away. They will put the parents in jail. And that's what that means. If you're against allowing people to use medical marijuana, you'll actually put them in jail. And actually, under the
You're wrong
current
about this.
circumstances, kids who had privilege like you do don't go to jail, but the poor kids in our inner cities go to jail. I don't think that's fair, and I think that we need to acknowledge it, and it is hypocritical to still want to put poor people in jail.
I don't want to put poor people in jail, Rand. Here's the deal.
You oppose medical marijuana?
No, I did not oppose when the legislature passed the bill to deal with that very issue. That's the way to solve this problem. Medical marijuana on the ballot was opened up. There's a huge loophole. It was the first step towards getting to a Colorado place. And as a citizen of Florida, I voted no.
So Jeb kind of there said two different things. We're back.
Is there any way to get my...
Uh-oh. Sound's still going. So Jeb was kind of saying...
Yes.
He was kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth there, David and John. He was saying that at first he said Colorado should be a state decision. They should be able to do whatever they want there. But then he also was saying he didn't really like it and doesn't want marijuana. But he's still allowing Colorado seemingly to have legalization. So, David, say what you said to me.
Well, I think that legalization is no problem for conservatives if it's the Harper model, which is millionaires only, mail order only. Don't gather together in groups. By all means, don't formulate into clusters. That's the kind of legalization they can get behind because it doesn't threaten state power. I suspect there'll be some push for some more Gregor Robertson kind of tightly controlled or overregulated locations after that. But what we got to fight for is a more inclusive model that includes poor people and young people so that everyone can benefit from legalization, not just 2/3 or 1/2 of the cannabis community.
Right. The all-inclusive model.
We need an inclusive model so the police have no more targets, no more scapegoats, no more harmless people getting harmed. We need to protect children from the black market, not from high-quality marijuana used properly. And we need to mature and come to the conclusion, I think, altogether that if cannabis is actually less harmful than caffeine, the regulatory model should be similar. But cannabis should not be considered like alcohol if alcohol is the hardest drug and cannabis is the softest.
Right. It's really not fair.
No.
Just doesn't make sense.
We need to reflect reality if we're going to have a model that works. And so I say, hey, let's include the poor and the young in legalization.
Sounds fair enough
It
to
sounds.
me.
Hey, you know what? They need it the most. The poor and the young get shit on the most, and they could use an antidepressant and relaxant
Right.
the most. So let's include them in legalization.
But now, when you say the young, I mean, you do want
I started smoking
parents to be involved in some...
I started smoking pot at 14. I can see us getting rid of the red tape around industrial hemp if we have a parental permission policy in place at the start. Eventually, though, we should treat cannabis as organic coffee beans to achieve the maximum amount of benefit from an education-based model rather than a permission-based model. But I'll settle for a parental permission model in the interim just to get the red tape around industrial hemp removed immediately. Because that's what we need to survive as a species. I can't say this enough because it's so important to understand this. The reason why we don't have hemp paper, hemp rope, hemp clothes, and hemp fuel is because it's overregulated. And we would have all that instead of our trees, cutting down our trees, using cotton and all the pesticides of cotton, and continuing on this death spiral, death economy with synthetics. We continue to do that because of the overregulation of industrial hemp.
Right.
So we need to remove it. We need to remove it as soon as possible. The way to do that is remove the stigma and the fear around growing or smoking social hemp. And the way to do that is to say, okay, it's okay for teens to smoke this under certain conditions. Then you can remove the red tape. Unless you do that, you can't remove the red tape, and we're screwed as a species.
North Americans don't like kids doing anything, whether it's drinking.
We allowed them Coca-Cola. We allowed 13-year-olds, teens are allowed Coca-Cola.
Sugar, yes.
Caffeine and sugar are both more dangerous than cannabis, kill more people than cannabis does, and it's only the impairment levels of novice users where cannabis is actually a little more dangerous. But overdose deaths, overuse deaths, and withdrawal symptoms, caffeine is more dangerous than cannabis. So we should have similar regulatory models for them.
And that's proven. That's the best part about it.
This is just reality, folks.
It's just reality,
If
folks.
you still think that your teenager can be or should be prohibited from a safe point of sale and quality cannabis products, it's because you haven't done the research and you haven't compared it with caffeine, and you haven't thought of how difficult it is to keep cannabis out of the hands of a teenager who has money who wants to buy cannabis. Think of it this way. You can't keep cannabis out of the hands of a teenager who's in a maximum security jail. What makes you think you'll be able to keep it out of the hands of a teenager who's not in jail? You can't. You won't be able to do it. It's impossible. It's better that we educate teenagers rather than try to order them around for their own good with herbs that have never killed anybody.
Yeah, I agree.
And I needed pot as a teen. I'll say this. If I didn't have pot as a teen, I may have killed myself. I was super stressed. I was mega depressed. I was feeling angst. I was like that guy in the Scream painting all the time. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Life is short. I'm going to feel a whole bunch of pain, and then I'm going to die, and it's not going to mean anything. Why should I suffer the pain? And I kept dwelled on that thing, and then I got high, and I took a walk through the woods, and I said, curiosity. That's my excuse for living. And it helped me find the insight and the relaxation and the antidepressant and the euphoria, the time slow that was good for sex. It all made being a teenager much more tolerable. And I felt less like slapping my mother, my stepfather, or my teachers. I was like, you're
Still
just
felt
silly.
like doing it, but just not as much.
Yes, it was like, you're more silly than you are aggravating. It saved my life.
And David, now if people want to find out about how cannabis affects kids, you've written heavily on this subject as well.
I've written about cannabis in teens and about the use of parental hysteria and scapegoating, a history of that, all in one book. You can get the book at Cannabis Culture online.
That's right, CannabisCultureHQ.com.
HQ.com. You can buy the book online, or you can go buy it in person at Cannabis Culture at 307 West Hastings, or at the Stressed and Depressed Association at 1353 East 41st Ave, my dispensary. You can buy it, or you can get it online for free by Googling it. It's Does Cannabis Inherently Harm the Developing Minds of Young People? That's the name of the book. It's a bit of a mouthful, but the topic needs discussing. And I think I answered that question. The answer is no. There's no uptick in schizophrenia or downtick in IQ from 1950 to today, when cannabis use went tenfold increases. So there's no evidence of cannabis being a problem in the general population, any cannabis-related pathologies. But what we do see is in history, every time you want to get the population all riled up against a scapegoat, a group of harmless people, be they witches, Jews, homosexuals, Socrates, the scapegoat needs to be seen as a threat to your children in order to be demolished and incinerated and annihilated and holocausted. And so that is their main weapon, maybe even their only weapon now, because the Partnership for a Drug-Free America changed their name to Partnership for Drug-Free Kids in order to focus their attention on their one remaining argument, which is it's going to hurt the young. We've given up on the cannabis harms adults arguments. We're going to argue it's just the developing minds of the young. That's all our attention.
That's a win, though.
And that's basically what you see. If you look at anti-marijuana sentiment, it's mostly focused on teens.
That's a win for us that they've sort of downsized, though, don't you think?
Well, it depends on our reaction to it, because the cannabis harms teens argument, if it's allowed to stand unchallenged, it could result in discrimination against us, persecution, continued punishments for generations. But if we address it now, this generation, then we can live free like we deserve to be. Like the original pot cafes of Amsterdam. That's the model I thought legalization was going to be. Pot cafes, i.e. pot treated like coffee. The coffee model was the Amsterdam model. That's what we want to eventually return to, the coffee bean model. They were allowing 16-year-olds in at the beginning until the 90s. And that's what the Senate report said, 16 years old. So they were already treating it less harmful than alcohol, which is necessary to remove the red tape around industrial hemp. That's what we're going to need.
Right.
So let the teens smoke pot, and then you can drive around with hemp ethanol instead of gasoline, and the world will be saved. instead of all this global warming and climate destabilization that we're suffering from, instead of all these oil wars and oil spills that we're suffering from, instead of all the cotton and timber and chemicals, the synthetics that we're suffering from, all of that could gone in a couple of years if we just switch over to the natural economy instead of the synthetic economy, removing the red tape around industrial hemp, and actually switching subsidies away from non-renewables and towards renewables. These are things that could happen in our lifetimes that could change the world from an unsustainable society to a sustainable one.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, David, I wanted to ask you quickly about Colorado. Have you been paying attention to some of the nuances of what's happening there in Colorado with their legalization?
Trying to, but there's been so many places now opening up. It's hard to pay attention to them all. What do you want to talk about?
In Colorado, there is a drive to allow people to smoke in public, to have bars or other places where people can toke up, just like here in the city we want to have
equal
lounges.
rights with the tobacco smokers.
That's right.
Oh
so
my
Mason
God, what
Tavert
a
and others
dangerous thought.
The guys from SAFER and MPP have been working on this project.
Good.
They put forward a ballot initiative to actually put it on the ballot this year. And they had huge support. It was polling at high numbers. And the day before the initiative was to be put on the books and it was all going to go through, they withdrew it voluntarily.
Why?
That's what Keith Stroop from NORML wrote a scathing article cutting them down about it and saying that he thought it was a bad idea.
Did we put that on Cannabis Culture?
They said, I haven't put the article up, no, but they said that they withdrew it because they wanted to negotiate with the city, and the city showed an interest in negotiating with them right in the 11th hour, I guess. But everybody said, well, you already spent all this money to do the ballot initiative. The ballot initiative would make it on the books for sure.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you do that? They said they were trying to do it in good faith for the people who are running the city so that they could work with them instead of forcing
the government's
their hand
one chance to respond with good faith. And if they don't, never trust any government again and always do it through the ballot initiatives, because you're always going to get a less radical thing from your leaders than you will from the rank and file. So if people themselves are voting on the solution, they're more likely to vote on a solution that makes sense rather than a solution that has good optics or is pragmatic or won't ruffle feathers or won't rock the boat or won't upset the powerful people.
And Mason Tavert in Colorado isn't really the type of guy to just screw around and let the government do whatever it wants. I mean, Mason's used to
maybe he knows something we don't, or maybe he doesn't know something we do.
We'll
see.
We'll see.
The proof is in the pudding. It's not my jurisdiction, Colorado. I go, you guys are way out in front of everyone else. I'm hanging my Colorado pot flag in my dispensary and saying, you're the beachhead, you're the front lines. I support you in whatever you do, whatever you think is best. But if you fuck this up, someone else is going to have their flag in my dispensary instead, because I want to see an inclusive model with the maximum amount of dignity. And if you can't get it through the goodwill of government, then you better put it on the ballot sooner than later. And all the other initiatives should have it built into their first ballot, their first version of legalization, because we don't want to do this with every state, have to have 2 ballot initiatives, do things piecemeal. Go for the whole hog. Go for equality right now. Stand up, say, I'm here, I'm high, get used to me. I'm no more dangerous, no more burden on the taxpayers than a coffee drinker. Back the heck off, and let's treat cannabis like coffee beans. Organic coffee bean standards make sense to me. That would be the one law that really makes sense, aside from no impaired driving, which should be a given anyway. But no, organic standards mean we have that soil for future generations. That's super important. That's a harm-based issue. And I would say if we had laws that prevented the sale of synthetic fertilizers, especially ones high in polonium-210, lead-210, and radium in them, if we had standards like that, that would solve a lot of our problems regarding concerns over lungs and concerns and heavy metals in our smokables. But apart from that law and no impaired driving, really we should treat it like coffee beans, and then we'd be all included in the economy. Anyone who wanted to grow could grow. Anyone who wanted to deal could deal. And anyone who wanted to smoke could smoke, and that's how it should be.
Okay, well, David, I agree. David Malmo-Levine, always passionate, articulate arguer for our cause.
He's passionate.
That's right, exactly. And that book, show that book off one more time.
That hash
to
works
these
really
folks.
well.
Dun, dun, dun. That's a good one.
Bam!
And look for something from David about Jeb and Hillary.
Yeah, we'll write something about Jeb and Hillary. Do you want something about how smoking lounges aren't a threat to human health first, or do you want the Jeb and Hillary thing first?
I think Jeb and Hillary first, since it's so timely. I mean, they're both timely.
Are we getting hassled to shut down the smokers lounge too?
We haven't been hassled yet, no.
Okay. All right,
I think they're picking their battles.
We'll do Jeb and Hillary.
Yeah, we'll do. Okay, yes. We'll see how the city treats us. They told us, they did send us a letter saying we have to close down, but I mean, that's not.
Yeah,
that was a while ago.
Check out the dispensary
That
cop
was a
article
while.
that's on CC right now. I think it's off the homepage, but you can still type in the words dispensary cop in quotations in Google and my name, and you can probably find it.
Yeah,
It's
should.
a good article.
Yes.
Another good
dispensary
article
cop.
by the DML in his house.
That is a good article, too.
Thanks, David.
Very well put together, David. And, yeah, you can visit David down at the Stressed and Depressed Association. What's the address over there at Sad Ass?
At Sad Ass, it's 1353 East 41st Ave,
brother, man.
Knight and 41st, basically, behind the Duffin's Donuts on the same street as Duffin's Donuts, which is a 24-hour donut delicatessen. We're open 10 to 10 every day. And, yeah, we have cannabis, hashish, extracts, all manner of cannabis for your smoking and ingesting pleasures.
Very
got
nice.
you on the pen there, so we had full
Got the
address.
pen. Got to even show off the pen. You guys need a good
You always
font,
need the
though.
hand back up behind it in order to give the full.
That's right. Thanks,
You
DML. Love you, brother.
Comes flying in and leaves flying.
So that was David.
That was David.
Johnny, I think
Yes.
we should play my interview with John Vergados.
I think you should.
Okay, let's do that.
I think.
It's ready to roll here.
'Cause
So
I know-
this is about the NORML conference that's coming up soon here, and it's also about Skunk Magazine, about the election happening, Justin Trudeau, the
How long is it?
Liberals,
How long is it?
Thomas Mulcair. It's about 22, 23 minutes.
Nice.
Something like that.
Okay, we're going to do some dabs while you guys are watching that. We're going to be getting high. Hope you are too.
We'll be back after this, and then we'll watch Johnny's dry sift video.
The one, yeah,
We're
the one
gonna
that
watch
I
that too.
kind of made.
Yeah. Okay. Enjoy, Pot TVers.
See you in a minute.
Does it work? There we go. Jeremiah here with John Vergados, who's a board member at large of NORML Canada, and also the longtime editor of Skunk Magazine. John, good to have you here.
Thanks, Jeremiah. I'm glad to be here, especially since we're promoting something that I think is so important for the upcoming elections at the in the NORML conference.
Right, so I
And
wanted
I'm
to
glad
talk
to
to
see
you.
you guys promoting it. Sorry?
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to talk about NORML's Canadian National Conference, which is happening on September 26th in Toronto at Vapor Central.
Yes, at Vapor Central, it seemed to be the biggest, most accommodating place. Plus, Dom, who's behind it, has been supportive for many, many years, and he's been a leader in this in Toronto. So, I mean, it was a good place to do it. We've done some events at other vapor lounges like Joey's Underground Cafe in the past, and they just went through some new renovations, so it's sort of like a nice little launch for them and for us.
Yeah, that's great. We're, of course, very good friends with Chris Goodwin and Aaron and everybody at Vapor Central. Are you guys going to be televising this? I know Chris has the setup able to televise it online.
Yeah, we just we've been in contact yesterday, and he's going to be recording it for Pot TV. So a lot of the speakers, and I expect them to be pretty compelling because they're composed of some of the best legal minds and activists in Canada. You know, like we're bringing in John Conroy from Vancouver, and Craig Jones, our executive director, has been a long-time civil rights activist. I think he's former executive director of John Hopkins, which is prisoner rights here in Canada. And we also have Paul Lewin, who's another charter lawyer, who's also probably been the one most instrumental in revitalizing NORML in the last few years. Because for a bit it was stagnant. It was always existing here, but I think the fact that the Liberals came out with the platform of legalization sort of spurred us on into trying to create something a little bit more organized and more active. And Paul's been instrumental. And Alan Young is going to be there, a longtime charter champion who's beat the government consistently as well, and has been vital in the medical marijuana fight. So, I mean, it's going to be pretty cool, as well as some local activists like Matt Murnaugh. I believe there's a women's panel composed of Sarah overall a good time. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the upcoming election. It's more like last year's. You were there when we had it at Champs Canada. It was a massive undertaking, and we brought speakers from all over, including down south with Michaela Comstock, the young cancer survivor, and Keith Stroop, the founder of NORML. This year's going to be a little bit more low key, but I think it's just as important because for the first time we essentially have a referendum on legalization. And I know that there's a lot in our community that don't trust the Liberals or I know there's a split vote, and NORML's traditionally been nonpartisan, but for the first time we actually have a federal election where one candidate says he's going to legalize. And my personal view is let them win. We hope they win. I hope they win. And even if they lie, like some people expect them to, or are a little bit skeptical, at least we can hold them accountable. And the alternative is really a lot worse. I'd rather have him lying than Harper telling me I'm putting you in jail. And and I know a lot of people are NDP sympathizers, but I think they're a little bit backwards still on their policies, and it's going to take way too long to implement. But I share Dana Larson's view that either one is better than what we do have, and I think both will eventually usher in legalization because you can't quell the tide anymore. It's all over down south. They see the economic benefits, the medical benefits, the societal benefits. Colorado's a great example. I mean, property values are actually going higher there. Crime's going lower. DUIs are lower. It's a much happier society, and I think that's what government's for.
Yeah.
So
well, it's just remarkable the amount of change that's actually happening that's tangible that you can really even put a number on. Colorado is just a great example. I think, once these numbers start rolling in from all over the place, it's very hard to argue with those.
No, and they've been out there for a while. Like, you look at Portugal, who essentially decriminalized 10 years ago, or more than a decade ago, and the evidence is in. I mean, it's a much, not only people benefiting from not being busted for cannabis, but actually addicts who are much harder drugs are coming in for treatment. They're seeing that it's a gentler system that they can trust. And here we have completely the opposite. I mean, I'm primarily a cannabis activist kind of reformer, but I believe that all drug laws here in Canada need reform. I mean, there's no reason why we should be sending addicts to jail. And we've seen the disdain expressed by the government fighting Insight up there in Vancouver all the way. I mean, it's not it's a highness government for me when it comes to being compassionate towards people that often need it most. And I mean, it's time they go. I think the spirit of the land is suggesting they go. Our political system makes it a little bit harder this time around because there might be a split vote. But over 70% of the people in Canada want this government ended. And Harper's regime to finally be gone.
Well, yeah, he seems to be swimming against the tide. That's how these conservatives do it, I suppose. But yeah, I think finally the overwhelming wave is going to hit in this election. I sure hope so. Anyways, John, same here. Yeah, I wanted to get into a little bit about NORML Canada because you were mentioning how you guys have sort of been revamping things there after a bit. NORML has been going on in the United States for 40 years plus. What is NORML Canada exactly? How does that differ from NORML US?
Well, I mean, initially I believe that they probably started from the same place. I know John Conroy's been probably the head here for a long, long time. I mean, it's a pretty old group here in Canada. I think it dates back to 74, or maybe a little bit later. The thing where I think they differed the most is that the two had very different battles to fight, to wage. In the U.S., in some respects, it was a much dirtier fight where people would lose everything. And I know it's happened here, but there was a little bit more prevalent. It's more about making money there. I mean, we don't have time to do this just on this one segment, but it covers every aspect of society in the U.S., which is hyper-capitalized. They make money off of everything, right, including jail, justice, medicine, poison, whatever you want. They'll make money from it, and the penalties were harsh. People were going away for 30 years for nonviolent crimes. I mean, they just released Jeff Smazinski, and again, he just served over 20. He was looking at a life sentence until he got clemency. But in Canada, I believe it's different. And we had once the charter came in, it ushered a whole new wave here. And the fact that it's been primarily a medical fight has, with every court battle centering around medical users, I think it made NORML a little bit point, and it didn't seem to be the same fight, although a lot of people did suffer. And we've had access here for a while for medical patients. But if you do look a little deeper, you'll see that the people that are on the NORML board, like John Conroy, Kirk Tusaw, Alan Young, have not only been fighting based on charter, but they've been fighting for the medical patients all along. And I think the fact that the medical fight took foreground here in Canada, I think that's why you see NORML evolved in a different way, you know. And like I said, recently there seems to be a new resurgence, and it's not only because of our efforts. It's a lot of volunteers that have volunteered recently at NORML. A lot of the younger group that are really committed, really dedicated, and are really super. I mean, we've got some electoral campaign strategies that are being spearheaded by this younger group that are just phenomenal. And this is just some of the stuff that you're going to see at the conference on Saturday. People are working really hard to get our community to vote, you know. And while NORML's stance is vote for the Liberals because we're endorsing them because of the fact that they're endorsing legalization. Just get out there and get Harper out, you know, at the minimum, because he's been hostile to us, and not only hostile to us, but to the judiciary, which is supposed to be independent, because they're ruling against him, you know, and that should never happen in a democracy like ours.
I was just going to say, so the position from NORML Canada is it's an official endorsement of the Liberals then?
Yeah, I mean, and that's why we've come together for this political rally. It's not, I mean, we're endorsing them strictly, like I said, because they're for legalization. Now, I know there's other issues that have come up in the last while, like C-51, where I believe they made a mistake, you know. Mm-hmm. But it's, and I hate to say like this, I don't like to play the pragmatic card, but that's politics. I mean, I don't expect anything different from Mulcair. I mean, he's shown, you know, that he's ready to switch allegiances or positions. I mean, here in Quebec, I mean, remember, he's from Quebec, so he's a staunch federalist throughout his career, and ever since he joined the NDP, all of a sudden he's making it easier for Quebec separatists. Now, I don't care what side you're on, but I mean, it's an about face, and people are allowed to change their mind. But when I look at the Liberals, I know they've made mistakes. I think personally that it's to appease the middle that might be perceived. They don't want to be perceived as a little soft. But I think all three parties are basically in it to get power, and I'm happy, and that's why I endorse the fact that they've said that in order to get in power, they see legalization as a way to do it. And right, my endorsement's official.
Well, and you know, I agree, and I think that what you say about them doing this strictly for this whole power grab idea, you know, in the past where the NDP, I think, has been the party that kind of was the one who stayed more in the interest of the people, the little guy, and that kind of stuff. On this issue, the marijuana one, they seem to be playing politics with it. Like, I don't know if you saw the latest zinger, quote unquote, from Thomas Mulcair aimed at Justin Trudeau in the Globe and Mail debates about pot. Did you see that? Yeah. So
yeah, he basically said everything we need to know about how he really feels on pot. You know what I mean? And that's a big gaffe in mine, you know. But they're trying to score points for sure. And I believe, like some people think that the NDP policy eventually will be good on cannabis. You know, I also believe that the Liberal policy on C-51 can't stand. And I don't even think the courts are going to uphold it either. You know, just like we've seen in the cannabis fight. You know, I think a lot of the legislation that the Harper government has erected won't last for much longer. You know, because as soon as they don't stand up to charter scrutiny, you know, they've consistently lost. So I'm not too worried about C-51, but I am worried about Mulcair saying we need another decade to study whether cannabis is good for you. You know what I mean? While being hammered with all this evidence around it.
Right. I mean, how many studies can we do? I mean, we've done the studies.
Plus the most researched plant, medicine, and the history of the world, yet they say there's nothing to suggest that it's good for you, you know, and it's disingenuous. They haven't figured out how to make money on it yet, and that's why it remains illegal. There's too much money to be made on prohibition, you know.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's why we're doing what we're doing. I mean, it's, I think when I first joined NORML, it was to be for a very short time. I thought that our only mandate was to legalize, you know. But as we've been analyzing the election, it's true. I mean, I think the Liberals want to do the right thing. I said this the other day on another program, but I don't think they really know what the right thing is, you know, and it's up in this week when Joy Davies resigned on principle, and the way it was handled. I mean, she should be allowed to speak her mind. In many ways, she knows a lot more than what her party platform is. I think it's like another gaffe trying to appeal to the middle once more. And I think, like what I was saying before, is that I was only going to be on NORML for a little short while, ushering legalization, and then, I thought NORML wouldn't be needed. But I see right now there will be a need. Because after it, we can't trust them to do what's good for us. We have to, we're hoping that when we say NORML is partisan right now, or endorsing the Liberal candidate, it's not unconditional. It's basically assuming that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. We want eventually, and this is Paul Lewin's baby kind of thing, to become sort of like a cannabis NRA, where they're scared of our block vote, or if not our block vote, they're scared of the people that support us, in the sense that they have to take us into account when they want to be elected. That's what we want eventually. So we want to build NORML is not just a single issue, but after that, it's to represent our whole community, and so diverse, from the med patient to producers. And one thing I want to say, what's different recently with this whole new group, in the past, NORML has been content with decrim, because in the past it's been a much slower fight or evolution.
Right.
But now it's clear in our mission statement that NORML supports, there is no legalization without personal grows. Basically, we support the right for people to be able to grow at home. Maybe regulated, maybe unregulated, but we do. It's not like in the past where we were content to just have a regulatory system.
Now,
we do support the grow.
How does that translate into the current battle or the current landscape over medical marijuana with the LPs versus local dispensaries and that whole thing? Is NORML supporting the LPs?
We don't really take a position on the LPs, but I can tell you my personal stance is that I don't mind that the LPs are there. I mean, there's going to be hopefully there's going to be a very open market with like 500,000 million consumers, that are going to be doing this. We're going to need a lot of sources. Let the LPs service the middle or the mainstream or the people that don't know. But if you're in the know, I'd like you to have a choice. And that could be from your neighbor growing, or you guys can be trading or whatever. I want a microbrewery model where people can get into this industry that don't have to be LPs. I mean, this is the system we want. I don't mind the LPs as long as it's not an exclusive system like it is right now. There's going to be a lot of demand. Let the LPs supply a lot of the demand. Let the connoisseur growers supply the connoisseur market. Let the home grower supply himself. That's the kind of system I think most of NORML wants to see.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no issue with the LPs. The only issue I have personally is that they want to get rid of the dispensary model. I would love the dispensaries to have the choice whether to buy from the LPs if they could.
Right.
Because I think they're going to get their act together. They're going to be growing good cannabis eventually, if they're not doing so right now.
Yeah, I've seen some of it. It didn't look too promising, unfortunately, but I think that will change. And like you say, I don't understand, there's room for everyone if everyone has the opportunities. At this point, it's a monopoly, but if it was more open and people could grow at home, then the LPs would be fine.
Right. And I think there's a need for the dispensary model in some form. I mean, people that are stricken with cancer shouldn't have to do all the research by themselves with no help, and then have to go to an LP and wait for their baggie, and the LP not being able to tell them anything about what that strain does. I mean, there's a need for a dispensary. There's people that have been through this for a long, long time. They've been studying how cannabis works more than anybody else for the last 15, 20 years. So, I mean, to cut them out of the system completely is not something that's good for Canadians. It's not something we want to see. And that's a different fight brewing. And I don't know where it's coming from. I think it's Pamela McCall that's making a lot of phone calls and trying to shut this down, this whole dispensary model, for material reasons. But I want to see a future with dispensary. If I got sick, I'd like to know that I can go somewhere where they can give me some knowledge, not just paper, and then a phone number where I can get my medicine, and then I have to research what it's good for. That's not what medicine is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and oh man, you mentioned Pam McCall. Wow, she is just a one-woman lobby group. My goodness.
She's more than one woman. She's just a face. I just wish she would pick on something else.
Well, and you're right.
There's a lot of harm being caused buy alcohol and other things and the food. You know, that's another thing against government and over-regulation of this plant. You know, we've trusted them to regulate our food, our air, our fuel. They haven't really done a good job, so I don't really trust them to handle our cannabis either.
No kidding. So, well, and about Pam, as you say, you know, she's backed by Big Pharma and those groups. That's where some of that cash is coming from. So.
Yeah, I've heard she's with SAM, right, which is the Kennedy kind of association, who just thinks that the next wave is to open a whole bunch of marijuana rehab clinics, right?
Right,
that's
exactly.
where the money's come from.
Yeah, they happen to have heavy investments.
No, she's pretty transparent. Unfortunately, she's pretty tenacious, too. And she's getting a lot of airplay, and she's actually getting some results. But
right.
I don't know.
I think we're seeing some positive developments on that side, though. You know, how she was harassing the police forces in other places, like in Winnipeg or elsewhere, and getting those places shut down. But the police in Vancouver have publicly said that they are not going to investigate her complaints, or it was a very specific one. They overturned it, so that's positive.
Yeah, no, I heard that the other day as well. I think they just announced it that they got other crimes to handle, or other more dangerous substance to patrol.
Exactly.
I mean, they know. I mean, the police in Vancouver have been pretty cool for a while now. Except when they're directed by their superiors to intimidate.
Exactly. Now, John, I did want to talk to you about Skunk Magazine as well. Take one hat off, put on the other here. You know, you're the longtime editor of Skunk. You guys are still, we were just talking about some stuff that you guys are working on there. Can you tell us about Skunk Magazine and what's going on there?
Yeah, we just closed out our 10th year, and a lot of changes are coming. We just, for the last maybe 6 months, we've gone digital. You're able to get the magazine digitally now for people that don't find it in their stores, or for people that prefer to treat it in a way that I can't understand. But I mean, it's starting to do well on the digital side. We're about to revamp our new website. I know I've been saying that for a bit, but it's been a terrifying experience because I was telling you before, it never ends. You know, it's not in the magazine. I've got a certain number of pages to fill. I fill them, and then I go to bed. In the website, it doesn't. It never ends. It's infinite. So,
yes.
So it's making me kind of crazy. So, but I think the way I've got it handled is that for the first, at least the 6 months, because we've got, remember, 10 years of content that many people have never seen. I think we're going to do like a 6-month retrospective and start releasing past articles, some cool stuff that we've done in the past, just so people can see the evolution from day one to what we've become, you know. And for the first 6 months until we get into the live vlogging aspects, it'll probably be more like a retrospective. And we're doing some pretty cool things there too. We're establishing, Julie is my partner and is handling sales and marketing here, as well as our retail kind of cart. We're putting together a philanthropic retail cart where a portion of proceeds goes to certain causes. Like we just did one with grinders that were custom built for normal women's lines and down in the U.S. And every 25% of every purchase goes to them. And we're doing that with many different products. So when we launch the website, expect to have like a whole new kind of way of doing business too. We're trying to carry good products from companies that give back. You know?
Cool, man. Well, it's exciting to see you guys coming along, and we'll definitely keep in touch with you about everything. Glad to hear that the conference will be broadcast on Pot TV. That's fantastic. But definitely keep in touch about everything, and we'll have you back on the show again soon to talk about the election. I think we're going to see some of that stuff heat up soon. This Mulcair-Trudeau back and forth was kind of interesting. So we'll see how that, you know, I've been seeing a lot of what the pot community thinks about this election, and people are going back and forth. There's that whole, you know, because of the C-51 thing, a lot of pot community people don't really like that at all. But when you hear Mulcair saying some of that kind of stuff, you know, you can see where he's really going with this. So
I just think as a cannabis user, I think, you know, you got to suspend sometime. You're not going to get it all, but you finally got a federal candidate for the first time in history saying full-scale legalization. What that means, we'll see. But, I mean, the other two are not giving us anything close to that. And yesterday, Mulcair proved the fact that he doesn't really believe that it's a medicine. I would, you know, if he's making cracks like that, I don't think he really takes our cause seriously.
Right. Well, and, you know, when he first was elected as the leader of the NDP, he came out and said that he thought marijuana causes schizophrenia and a bunch of other crazy stuff.
Yeah, and it's much stronger than it used to be. It's not your, all the old cliches. It's not your grandfather's marijuana, all that.
Right.
Like I said, I have to go with my gut and go, and my head actually, not with my gut, and vote for the party that says they're going to make our lives a lot easier. We're not going to be this marginalized segment of society. I've been to the U.S. many, many times, and I've seen the markets. I've been to Denver. I've been to California. I know, it's a gentler society when it comes to cannabis. It's a lot easier to access. It's a thriving industry. I mean, it's the most innovative industry. It's pretty cool to see what's happening once it's relaxed, And I expect in Canada is a perfect place. I mean, I think we have one of the highest per capita rates of use in the world. I mean, it's been part of our culture for a long, long time. It's about time because we've been sort of leader well before Harper on other issues, other social justice issues. We had gay marriage way before the U.S. It's about time we right this wrong too.
Absolutely. John, thank you very much for coming on. John Vergados, NORML Canada, and Skunk Magazine. Check them out online at normal.ca and skunkmagazine.com. John, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Keep up the great work, man. You're one of the hardest working guys in this movement. So.
Oh, well, thank you very much, man. You too, man, for sure. Love you lots, and we'll talk soon, brother.
All right, bud.
Peace.
Thanks.
Back. Hi, Carly Marley.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi.
She's high now.
Are we back over here? Let me just see what's going on. Yeah, we're
Is that a
back.
good hash rip?
Oh, it was great.
Double hash rip.
Great.
Okay,
I love
so
this stuff, though.
that was
The
John
Horatio.
Vergados. Cool guy, awesome, hardworking guy, doing a lot of stuff for the movement, has been for a long time. And so Carly also helping us out here at the Cannabis Culture HQ online store, our new venture, which was our old venture, revamped, redone. We're just getting stuff logged in. Carly, tell them what you're up to. We've now hired you.
Yes.
Mark and Jody hired you.
Yep, starting in the basement.
Yep.
Right now I'm working on putting tons of new product in, so I'm getting lots of new stuff in there every day. So right now that's really the focus of what we're doing. But
Logging
there's so
in.
much cool stuff, and we've got a lot of really cool stuff planned for the website too. So.
Yeah, in 1 week's time, we should have a shitload of stuff in there.
Oh yes.
Because we're going to hammer it hard, so.
Yeah, we're going to be working on some really cool bongs, getting lots of cool vaporizers in. I got a vaporizer up today, and I think it's like $23 US or something like that. It's like so cheap.
There's some pretty good deals.
Really good deals on there for sure. Yeah. So.
Cool. Awesome,
It's pretty
Carly.
good.
Well, I'm glad that you're joining the team. We could
I
use
am
all
too.
the help we can get, and it's going to be great to have somebody actually working. Because this new online store, we're already doing a lot of business in it. It's been going really well. So get your stuff at cannabisculturehq.com. There'll be a lot more stuff in there soon. So if you can't find what you want right now, look back in a couple days, and you'll see a hell of a lot more stuff.
Yep.
So. I want, Johnny, you to talk a little bit about... Oh, and Carly, you can see on Monday's show,
Yes.
on the Opus 420 Lifestyle, every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time. That's our Monday show. How's that going?
Really
Having
well.
fun?
Yeah.
I produce it these days because Tommy's not around.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you and Mick do a lot of great stuff. You've been kind of like putting the shows together, programming a lot of what goes into the show, like getting it all together and stuff.
Well, I'm trying to help out a lot. If I'm going to do something, I want to be sure to contribute and be involved. And I really don't want to get up in front of the camera and not know what I'm talking about. So
Yeah, you've been doing a lot of research and putting a lot of stuff into the documents beforehand and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's good. You're a hard worker. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was going to say the same, so.
Thank you. Productive
I'm
potheads.
gonna get a video here.
Well, of course. I get things done because I smoke hash.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Bong rips getting me through the day.
They get me out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly. I do
Coffee
everything
and
high.
sativa.
I mean,
No matter
since
what
the
I do,
weather's
I do
dropped
it high.
down, I mean, this morning I've been rolling weed all summer, and I had a tray. I call it tray weed. And there was about that much in the bottom bag. It's going to be a couple ounces, but yeah, I smoke big gaggers.
Tray weed.
And I took the tray weed upstairs. I threw it on the screens, and that was what you guys have been puffing on the whole time.
Oh, look who it is on your video. It's Thomas Mulcair.
Oh, really? On my
Our best
video?
friend. Oh, so
Are
we
you
didn't talk
kidding?
about
Wow.
we didn't talk about old Tommy Mulcair and what he said about Trudeau and pot. Did you hear this?
Oh no, please go.
He like tried to zing him at the Globe and Mail debate.
Okay.
So they have, you know how the newspapers do these debates or whatever. The Globe and Mail had their debate. I think it was last night or the night before, and Mulcair was like talking about how daycare subsidies or something have gone up in a puff of smoke, and then he looked at Trudeau and he's like, "And that's something you know a lot about, isn't it, Justin?"
Oh,
like,
really?
Trying to, you know, obviously say that Justin is a pot-smoking hippie or whatever. And this is the guy who's supposed to be running the NDP, which is supposed to be a scientific sort of organization that is for the people and stuff. That's what the NDP used to be.
He's saying he's going to decriminalize, right?
He is not
and Trudeau's
a friend
going,
to us, really.
Well, none of them are
He's
friends.
using it as a political issue. This guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
Sorry, but Thomas Mulcair is an asshole.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. At first I thought I was considering orange when the election first started, but the more
He's
I
petty.
see of Mulcair,
That's
the more
not-
afraid I am that he's got a lot of similar characteristics to Harper. I don't like how he hides from the camera. I don't like how he silences people.
Yeah.
And like that, the
Good
comments
call.
like that are just petty and have nothing to do with the topic that they're
And he
talking
knows,
about.
does he really respect marijuana as a medicine if he's making cracks like that?
Exactly.
Like, come on.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm being a little hypersensitive and he's just trying to be funny
And to me,
Mulcair.
it
But come
also
on, that's a
almost
dick
instigates that
move.
he doesn't. Like, to me, that comment wouldn't be made by someone who has smoked weed very much.
He's not
and
a
I feel
pot
like
smoker.
You need somebody who knows about weed to be
Look at that
representing
face.
weed, you know?
He does have a good beard, though.
He
gotta
probably
say.
does
should
have a
smoke
good
a
beard.
joint.
Gotta-
He probably
you
should
like-
smoke a
gotta
joint.
like
If he
that
did,
beard.
he probably would say
But-
legalization.
But
no.
he's an
Angry
ad on
Tom.
my video.
He's
That's
trying to look
hilarious.
happier now, though.
That's hilarious.
This is your
If-
video. Here, let's watch a little clip of this. This is the ad before Johnny's video. We'll turn the volume on.
The story is like that of millions of Canadians. I'm the second oldest of 10 kids. Maybe that part's a bit different. It wasn't always easy, mind you. We worked hard, lived within our means, and looked out for each other.
I'm a hardworking guy.
I worked my way through law school and dedicated myself to public service because I wanted to help others.
He's not acting there.
These are the values that have guided me as a husband, as a father, and as a grandfather. And these are the values that will guide me in the future. As a cabinet minister, I brought people together to get things done and make a difference in people's lives. We need to give our kids a better start in life, ensure our young people get the opportunities they need, and our seniors get the benefits they deserve. I have the experience for the job and the plan to help every family get ahead. In this election, Canadians are ready for change. I'm ready too.
Ready to get in your
Change
face.
into what?
Okay, well, here's Johnny's video.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Just how it
Actually, I
happened.
guess, wait, before
Wait a
we
second.
go.
Yeah.
Before we go, Johnny, is there anything you want to say about the video? And also, we should probably just wrap it up because we're going to finish this up. It's 5:47.
What do I want to say
so-
about the video?
And thanks, Carly, for coming on to talk about the store.
Yes, Carly.
Get
Thank you
everything
for
you need
having
but the
me on.
weed. Cannabis Culture, HQ.com. Tell your friends. Tell your grandma.
They carry everything that involves grinding, cutting, rolling, smoking, vaping, you name
Yeah,
it. If it's got,
extracting,
it makes no difference. It's got glass, screens,
dabs,
sublimators.
Anyways,
it's all there for
Medtainer.
you. Of course they're there.
T-shirts.
rainbow
Fuck
of
Harper
Medtainer.
T-shirts.
Fuck Harper T-shirts.
Fuck Harper T-shirts.
Fuck Harper
Recreational
Buy the
T-shirts.
Cannabis Culture
And actually, what about
HQ.com.
all that Vansterdam shit? Did that come in today?
Not that I know of,
Mark.
but we're gonna have a boatload of
We
new
have all
T-shirts
kinds of new
coming in
T-shirts
very
yeah.
soon.
and some really cool pot-related designs too that you can't get anywhere else. So
Okay, well
Only
this
here.
and this video, because you wanted me to describe it.
Yes,
Sure,
tell
I'll
us
say
about
it.
your video,
So
Johnny
the
B.
video is basically how I use all the different screens from 60, 90, 110, 200, 304. Talk about the carting methods. I show the static sifting, and then as I slowly started doing this, and then it led up to the end of me winning the cup and first place, and then I show some really nice melty shots and how it melts like water.
Yeah.
You know what? I have fun, and I just show you how I make my hash, and just showing
Johnny
you how you can
just
make it at
wants
home.
to have fun.
So puff and pass and enjoy, smoke some hash and relax and have
Rocket ship to the moon.
You know what? Grab
with
a joint.
Johnny
Do what you do.
B's.
Love the weed.
Meltiness.
I happen to really like. I like melty hash. It seems to be my favorite, and it turns out to be everybody else's favorite too. So that was nice.
Okay. All right, Johnny. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Always.
Thanks for co-hosting with me. It's good to have you here. Thanks to everybody who came on the show today. Carly Marley, Neil Magnuson, David Malmo-Levine, John Vergados, Donald Duck.
You were here.
Mickey Mouse.
You guys were here too. All the ones in chat, as always, thank you
Our
so
chatters,
much for
Pot TVers.
coming on in and
I'm
having.
really high now. That hash is good. We were
Well,
smoking.
you know what? It's just so easy, guys. So easy to make your own, like 99.9% melty heads. You can make your dry stuff melt just to take a little bit of time.
Dry sift, baby.
Make it melt.
Yeah, thanks to, not thanks to Tom Mulcair. They're talking about him in the chat here. Everyone jumped on the bandwagon over C51. But yeah, it's true. Mulcair sucks. Remember that, potheads. Mulcair is not your friend.
I know.
They said they're going to decriminalize, but that's not enough. So that's what Harper's talking about. So Mulcair and Harper are too closely related here. Even Harper's talking about decrim. I don't like the sounds of Mulcair's decrim. And remember, Libby Davies isn't there anymore.
Yeah, no.
So she's not part of the party anymore.
Yeah,
all the good folks, not all the good folks, but
looks
some
like
of the
it's
good folks
liberals.
are gone.
Got no other choice in the matter.
Yep. Trudeau says he's going to legalize. That's a hell of a lot better than we got with anybody else. So I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, and who knows what kind of shit we're going to have to fight with him afterwards about it. But at least it's going to be. They've been.
You know what? I think
listen, they
he's
talked about storefronts. They want to sell it. The guys who wrote this shit are the Van East liberals. Like they're a bunch of potheads, and that's the people who got it past 70% of the party. So, and Trudeau is a pothead. So give me a
There you
break.
go.
The guy smokes.
Puff and
Come
pass.
on. That'd be awesome. Canada with Prime Minister Trudeau, the snowboarding, pot smoking. And maybe Gregor can spin records while Trudeau lights joints.
I'll sift some hash.
Yeah. You can. Okay. Peace, Pot TV. Thanks for watching. We'll
Peace,
be back
guys.
again next week. And a bunch of stuff coming up. We got a bunch of trips. We're going to be at the Karma Cup in Toronto. That's in October. And then the beginning of October on the 2nd, we'll be at the Prairie Medicinal Harvest
Prairie
Cup.
Medicinal Harvest Cup.
I'll be hosting the Prairie Medicinal Harvest Cup.
I'll be coming.
Your host with this guy.
Apparently.
And Neil Magnuson will be helping
Nice.
out, along with Mr. Matt Murnaugh. We have a little Pot TV. We kind of put the whole production together. So it's going to be fun with our homeboy, Big Jeff.
Always. Can't wait to get to the prairies. It's such relaxing, such an amazing event.
It's a really fun event.
Definitely.
Thanks for watching, guys, and check out Johnny's Sift video.
Peace.
Here you go, getting melty.
Morning, guys. Here's a new view. Hash room. Yeah, we got the AC running. We have our screen sitting here. Now, this is pretty cool, guys. This is a 305 mesh count screen. And this is all of those headies that I've been sifting for probably a year cleaning on this. You can see the separation piles that I've had. But people thought I was crazy cleaning on the 304 screen. Now we have rosin tech. So we're going to rosin this, guys. This is probably the smallest micron rosin test to date. So we have all our screens sitting right here. We have our 200. This one here is going to be our 110. Bear with us, guys. We got our 110, our 200, we got our 60 and our 90, and we got ourselves a hash room. Oh, check out this. Have you ever seen a crazy meditainer like that? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Of course, puffin'. And I just had to show you off the new Karma Cup one. Look at that. Isn't that sick? Of course, if you're looking to get your hands on one of those Meditainer Canada, you know where to find us. But we're going to be making some hash here today, guys. We got things. Here's some bubble hash that we made, and I want to sift this because I want to see if there's trichomes left in there. We have the screens to do that with. So, you know what? This is my hash room. I have my charcoal filter. You can see I have all my pizza boxes in the corner here for drying out all my bubble hash. And I've been rocking this hash room now for a few years, but I've never really showed you guys. You may have saw it with diamonds and gold from bags of swag. But now we're going to do some real testing here. We're going to have some fun. So coming up next, guys. So that 304 is now on this parchment paper right here. We're going to do a little rosin deck with that. We'll do well, we'll see what happens with that. I'm kind of curious. I'll take a better look at it too. But what we got going on here now, guys, I mean, working away. So I kind of like to leave my material on the screens for like a couple hours. I realize that once I do the little sifting and grinding, getting her all laid out, those tricone heads seem to fall after a little bit of time. So we're definitely just letting this sit on here. So just, a little trick that I do. Just kind of let it sit on here. Normally I turn on the AC to get it all nice and cold and, let it all kind of, because the colder the better. The tricone heads like to fall. This is like a mechanical separation. And we have the ice and water separation, of course, which I think that's mechanical too. Could be, I don't know. Now I'm just talking. Because it's first thing in the morning. So guys, I'm going to continue working here. And what I'm talking about is when we back the screens, we have the 90 on the top. So I got the material on the top. As we know, things are falling through. I already got a nice pile here that I've been working away on. So you already see that this is already getting ready nice. I got my brushes. Trusty old DVD. These are some of the tools that you're going to need in order to get killer full melt, water-like, dripping through screen, dry sift. So, I'm going to continue working. I wanted to show you, kind of explain what I'm doing here, and let you know that I'm sifting. And this is just the first steps, and I've done a few steps, actually. So next you're going to see a big pile, and we'll take it from there. See what happens. But first, just wouldn't be the same if I didn't bring you guys in here. So as you can see, you can see what we're doing. All right. That's what I didn't want to do, actually. Now we got it in a big pile. Yeah. As you can see, guys, we've pretty much stripped that down. Gotten that all out. So once I pull the 90 screen off and I got the 110 screen on, I kind of just carved. You can see all the tricone heads going through, guys. That's going through into the 110, right? Falling under the 200, I'm sorry. So as I carve this, we're going to watch this slowly diminish. So this is the joys of using the 60, the 90, the 110, the 200, and the 304 strings, is we have so many different separations. And this being the Congo, it's a lot of fun. I mean, you can kind of see that this is just kind of like nothing really there. It's kind of like getting into like swag, but we'll rosin it because there's definitely some heads there, right? So we know this doesn't melt, but once squished, she's gonna melt. So this is what's going on top of the 110 screen, guys, right there. There you go. Now, we learned this. Give it a flick. Give it a flick. Look at that. So now with this, same thing. All of these cards. I need a new one. Need a new card. So now we have all this resin. And with this, guys, we're going to get into static shifting. What do you want to hear? Hear that? That sand. Get the pressure on. So using the brush, like Dee always says, charging the screens up. So kind of doing that, guys. Then I get a piece of parchment paper ready. I should have had ready, but I don't. So now we got my piece of parchment right here. I'm going to keep that piece of parchment right down here, guys. And we're going to see us put it onto there. So, really easy and simple. Make sure that the parchment paper is nice and tight on the DVD. And just straight, boom. 1, 2. And a little bit of an angle. And with that, guys, you get that. Look at that. That's some kill. That's some kill. So, from there, you can actually do this a few times. And you guys have all seen me do this in the past. Ready? Look at that, eh? You can just see how the heads are on there. See that? So there you guys go. We're gonna kind of come onto this side. And the brush is what you kind of want to need, guys. You don't want to use your fingers or anything like that, but this brush is what you need. And you can see on the back side are the contaminants. See contaminants on that side? We can just wash those away. So, straight across, straight across, straight across, 45. This is how I do. This is what seems to be working. Booyah. Fresh headies, guys. Oh, I didn't get you to see that one because I was too busy over here. I'm sorry. So I just did the same sifting again. I'm going to get a pile together here, guys, and we'll show you more of this Congo dry sift. And a little bit what's going to be happening with it coming soon. Wow. So that is some killer Congo static dry sifting going on right here, guys. And well, that's exactly 7 grams. And we're screening over here. We're keeping busy. We have our DVD out. And more to the Congo dry sifting. All of the different screens, all of our different levels. all of our different trichome heads, guys. So this is just a lot of fun going on here. I mean, weighing things up. Of course, I got my parchment out. I got my my little brush. Everything is here, ready to go. And well, this is what it's all about right here. Like, really? This, you guys, this here is like just sand. As you can see, that is some amazing Congo dry sift. This is 2 times cleaned, and we might even do a third, but you know what? I think those look pretty damn tasty. I think those are definitely fresh headies. And yeah, oh, I'm trying to, I don't want to pull up the macro, but there you guys go. I'm sitting here working away. And more to this Congo dry sift, these screens coming up next. So now that we've had that big pile, we're down to a small pile. What's really cool about this small pile is this is all that's left, guys. And you can see the remnants of the cleaning here. You can see some other stuff going on here. Now, glasses, brush, all these little flaps. I wonder why. There's a first place bong sitting there. And as we turn around here, we can see that we've got the Congo still sitting on the ground here. We have the top of what was sitting on the top of the 110 screen sitting there. We'll probably maybe put that in a rosin tech. But what's really cool here, guys, is dropping you in the tripod. Because guess what? We just did the Canadian Concentrate Open. And what you guys are learning is when I started this hash room, getting it all set up there on Saturday, Remo came by and he brought by that really nice bag of Congo. Now, this bag of Congo was a half a pound of some really nice resin. And of course, Remo grows amazing resin, which we all know. But doesn't really know how to clean his resin when it comes to the dry sifting and stuff that Mark has shown me. Big shout out for Bubble Man. You know, I would not be learning all this if it wasn't for you, dude. D420K, dude, you pushed me to do the second and third cleaning. Thanks, dude. Because you know what? Between all of that, I got goosebumps. The Canadian Concentrate Open, the finale, first place. Remo's got the cup right now. Mine will be coming this week. I'll be doing a little dabbuccino. You always see me with my morning coffee, which is downstairs. But I figured, you know what? I wanted to finish this video off and talk to you about the static dry sifting, how we're doing that. Of course, I'm going to be doing some rosin tech with the 304. That is definitely going to happen. But what better way to finish this video off? This is all that's left of that 7 grams. There's nothing else left. We got one nice little hit. And I want to do it with you guys. Because, hey, it won first place for the best concentrate for the Canadian Concentrate Open. That was 7 months of competition. Every 30 days, they had an event. And over the last 6 months, Horatio has won. We've had Heavenly Days has won. We've had West Coast Concentrates have won. We've had 6 big winners. And I was asked to enter in the beginning. I said, I'll come in at the end of the finals and bring in some dry sift and just win it. And Tim laughed. It happened, but it would never happen without the team. Team Dry Sift. Because it was the team that won it. Goosebumps again. So, hey team, it was us. It was awesome. It was you. It was the viewers. It was a joint effort, as you can see. So, puff and pass. We're going to do a bong rip down here, guys. I'm going to bring you down here and show you how this melts like water. And, coming up next. Gotta love that, guys. So there we go. We got a nice little zoom on there. Now, I can tell you pretty much that the sift that everybody else had was a little bit cleaner than this, because this is just what was left of me cleaning on the screen at the end. And that is one huge rip. Super excited with this. Now, don't forget to loft your flame over while you're using your beeline, because the beeline is exactly what you're going to need for smoking organic fresh resin. Wow, it tastes so amazing, guys. I mean, wow, that is some amazing, tasty resin, guys. Like, killer. So, there we go. First place, Canadian Concentrate Open, the Congo. Thanks, guys. Could never done it without you. Peace and love. The leftovers.